Welcome to episode 95 of Cameron Sports Podcast. Just host here, Cameron Lindsay, and I'm back with another episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be making my 2025 NHL Conference Finals predictions. In the Western Conference, we got the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Dallas Stars for the second year in a row. Last year, Edmonton and Dallas both played each other in the Western Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. So let's get right into it. As I said, last year, Edmonton and Dallas both played each other in the Western Conference Finals. Edmonton ended up winning that series last year to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. They won in 6 games, 4 games to 2. But during the regular season, the Stars did win the regular season matchup 2 games to 1. So I mean, sometimes the past doesn't always matter. It's about the present. But I just let y'all know that these two teams do have history. They literally played each other last year in the Western Conference Finals. Now, for both teams who advanced to the conference finals, Edmonton, they beat the Vegas Golden Knights in 5 games, 4-1. Dallas Stars beat the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games, 4 games to 2. Now, like I said, I did get that right. I did predict Edmonton to beat the Vegas Knights. I predicted Stars to beat Winnipeg. So I got that right. So, you got to give me a little credit. Like I said, as I'm getting more into hockey, as you see in my shirt, I got a little hockey history. This shirt right here is from my internship a couple years ago. But, yeah, like I said, from watching Dallas Stars, I feel like they, in my opinion, were the favorite to come out the West. Edmonton, like I said, they did beat Dallas last year, so I had to take that into consideration when making my prediction and hearing my notes. But I feel like Dallas is gonna get their revenge from last year. They're gonna flip the script and they're gonna beat Edmonton in 6 games. I got Dallas in 6 over Edmonton. I think it'll be a very good series, but I just feel like I think it's Dallas' time. The past few years, Dallas has had a real good team. They just haven't yet got to that hump to making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I feel like this could be the year they finally get there. Now, I don't know about winning yet, depending on who comes out the East. But I do like Dallas over Edmonton, but this won't be an easy series. Like I said, Edmonton did beat Dallas last year in 6 games to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I wish my Seattle Kraken were playing in the Western Conference Finals, but it is what it is. We'll be, I hope to, next year when I'm making my conference finals predictions and talking more NHL, that I'm, more enthusiastic, more hyper to see my team playing for a championship. So I hope to see that. But I'm going Dallas in 6 to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals out of the Western Conference. Now for the Eastern Conference Finals, like I said, we got the defending champs, the Florida Panthers, taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina beat the Capitals 4 games to 1 in round 2. Now I did get that wrong. I did say in my notes I had the Capitals winning in 7. So again, like I said, as a journalist, I can take responsibility for my predictions being wrong. Just as much as I'll brag a little bit if I'm right. So I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm not the type of person where if I'm wrong, I'm gonna go into hiding and I'm not gonna say nothing on my show about it. No, I don't run from that. Like I said, I was wrong, and yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes. I knew Carolina had a good team. That's why I said Capitals in 7. I didn't underestimate Carolina. I just thought Washington had a really good team, but Carolina just beat them in 5 games. Now, Florida, they beat Toronto Maple Leaf in 7 games in round 2. That was a very good series. I'm not going to lie, I thought Florida was in deep trouble because they went down 2 games to none, but they ended up winning, winning like 3 straight. Toronto did win game 6. Pushed to 7, but Florida dominated game 7. I watched most of that game, and they dominated them start to finish. It wasn't even close. I know it was a game 7, but it wasn't even close. Florida dominated them. It's the reason why I believe Florida is the favorite out of the East. Like, so one of my coworkers asked me at work a couple weeks ago who I think is favored in the NHL playoffs from the Eastern and Western Conference, and I told him in the East, Florida. Western Conference, I said probably maybe Dallas, but like I said, the reason I picked Florida because, like I said, the past 2 years, Florida has been good. They have a chance to make their 3rd straight Stanley Cup Finals. The first year they lost to Vegas. Last year they beat Edmonton, and now they got a chance to make their third straight Stanley Cup Finals. The last team to do that was the Tampa Bay Lightning when they won 3 in a row and then tried to win. I think they won 3 in a row, or almost won 3 in a row. One of them 2, excuse me. But Florida Panthers, like I said, they're no joke. Their team, like I said, they always comes to play, especially around playoff time. And like I said, I think they're the favorite out of the East. Now in the regular season, Florida did win the regular season matchup against Carolina, 2-1. But like I said, I know Carolina got a great team. Florida is a great team on their own right. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions for a reason. With that being said, I'm going 7 games. I think this series is going to go 7 games, and I'm going to go to Florida Panthers. I just can't bet against the defending champs. Like I said, I did see them go down 2-0 last round, and they ended up winning 3 straight, going up 3-2, and they dominated Game 7 against Toronto. I gotta go Florida Panthers to win this. I think it's going 7 games, and it should be a very great series. And I have Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. I mean, not Edmonton, excuse me. The Dallas Stars against the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Sorry about that. I'm thinking about last year's Stanley Cup Finals for a second. But, I got the Dallas Stars taking on the Florida Panthers in the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals. Like I said, I think, as much as I keep watching hockey, like I said, because, mind y'all, like, hockey playoffs and NBA playoffs are going around, so the episodes I'm doing right now are based off of those NHL, NBA, so I'm trying to get both of them out, for my NHL fans, for my NBA fans, whether you're a fan of both leagues or just one. Like I said, I'm the type of person where I'm important. As I'm growing my sports media career, I'm doing multiple sports, just not just one. Even though my best sport is football, but I can do multiple sports, so. But those are my predictions. Dallas out of the West, Florida out of the East, in the Stanley Cup Finals. I definitely appreciate each one of y'all tuning in for this episode. If you want to touch down with Cam, make sure to follow me on all social medias, Facebook, Twitter X, Instagram, and of course make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you want to touch down with Cam. I definitely appreciate each one of y'all watching. Y'all support means the world to me, and it's only up from here. But I'll catch y'all next time for another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. This has been your favorite host, Cameron Lindsay. Y'all take care.